There was a time when the world both admired and feared the Oiran. She was the ultimate celebrity of Japan's Edo period, commanding an industry worth billions of yen in today's money, and shaping Japanese fashion, art, and high society etiquette forever. But behind the silken legend was a darker story. Whispers of state-sanctioned human trafficking and a slow, agonizing death by poison. This is the true story of the Oiran, a woman who was both queen and prisoner in a golden cage. Born in the 17th or 18th century, the typical Oiran began life in crushing rural poverty. Picture a tiny village where famine gnawed at every doorstep and families faced impossible choices just to survive. Society saw her as expendable, a daughter, often sold as a commodity to pay off crushing taxes to the shogun's regime. At just 6 or 7 years old, she was torn from her parents and sent to Yoshiwara, Edo's infamous pleasure district. It was a one-way trip. The gates of Yoshiwara closed behind her like a tomb. But even as a child, she showed incredible mental fortitude. As a kamuro, a young attendant to older courtesans, she was forced to memorize thousands of lines of poetry, master the koto and shamisen, and perform back-breaking labor, all while smiling for clients. One story tells of a girl no older than 8 who spent nights reciting waka poems by candlelight, her fingers bleeding from scrubbing floors, yet never shedding a tear. Another endured years of isolation in Yoshiwara's labyrinth of brothels, forbidden from speaking to anyone outside its walls, her only companions the other girls destined for the same fate. These were no ordinary children. They were forged in fire, trained to become something extraordinary, or break trying. Then, at age 16, everything changed. After years of grueling training, she faced her high-stakes debut, the Oiran Dochu, a ceremonial procession through the streets of Yoshiwara. Picture this, a young woman draped in layers of vibrant kimono weighing over 30 pounds, stepping on 20-inch black lacquered clogs that forced her to walk in a slow, swaying figure-8 pattern. Crowds of merchants, samurai, and even daimyo lords gathered, their eyes locked on her every move. One misstep could ruin her. A fall from those clogs meant public humiliation and a return to servitude. But if she succeeded, she became a taiyu, the highest rank of Oiran, a castle toppler, capable of bringing the mightiest men to their knees. That first procession wasn't just a debut, it was a gamble with her entire future. With relentless discipline and grace, the Oiran built a brand that made Japan's wealthiest tremble. She wasn't just a courtesan, she was a cultural icon. Her elaborate hairstyles, adorned with dozens of gilded pins, sparked fashion trends across Edo. Her mastery of tea ceremonies and calligraphy set the standard for high-class etiquette, influencing even the imperial court. One Oiran, named Takao II, was so renowned that her poetry readings drew crowds of thousands, with merchants paying today's equivalent of tens of thousands of dollars for a single evening in her presence. Another, Yugiri, revolutionized kimono design, her bold patterns inspiring artists like Utagawa Kunistada to immortalize her in ukiyo-e prints that are still treasured today. But bigger opportunities and dangers loomed. The Oiran operated in a cutthroat world where rival houses in Yoshiwara competed for dominance. To survive, she adopted a chilling philosophy. A heart of stone is the only way to survive a world of silk. Her beauty was her weapon, but her mind was her armor. She had to outwit not just other Oiran, but also the brothel owners who held her under 20-year debt contracts so predatory that most girls would never live long enough to pay them off.
This is where the Oiran's darker side emerged.
In the brutal battle against rival houses and her own crushing debts, she wielded tactics that could devastate lives. One infamous strategy was the marriage lie. An Oiran would cultivate a client's obsession, convincing him she loved him deeply and dreamed of a future together. She'd whisper promises of running away, becoming his wife, if only he'd pay off her massive debt to the brothel. Desperate men, from merchants to samurai, poured their fortunes into her contract, bankrupting their families in the process. But once the debt was cleared, she'd vanish to the next client, leaving her savior ruined. Fortunes were made and destroyed in these silk-lined schemes. One Oiran, Hanaogi, was said to have driven 3 men to financial ruin in a single year, her cold smile never faltering as their families starved. The stakes were impossibly high. If she failed to attract wealthy patrons, her debts grew, and she'd be demoted to a lower rank, forced to serve poorer, often violent clients. But even success came at a horrific cost. The Oiran's beauty, her greatest asset, was slowly killing her. At the height of her power, the Oiran controlled the social hierarchy of Edo's glittering capital. She dined with daimyo, advised poets, and set trends that shaped Japanese culture for centuries. Her image adorned woodblock prints, kabuki plays, and even government-sanctioned festivals. But a silent killer was closing in: lead poisoning. The white oshiroi makeup she wore daily, made from lead powder, was a ticking time bomb. It gave her skin that flawless porcelain glow, but it was rotting her from the inside out. The lead seeped into her bloodstream, causing hair loss, organ failure, and excruciating pain. By her mid-20s, many Oiran were bedridden, their beauty replaced by gaunt, disfigured faces. One heartbreaking account describes an Oiran named Katsuyama, once celebrated as Yoshiwara's brightest star, who collapsed during a procession, her body too weak to carry the weight of her kimono. She was 27. The truth was dawning. The Oiran was no queen. She was a prisoner of a 20-year debt contract, trapped in a system designed to exploit her until she died. Yoshiwara wasn't a palace. It was a golden cage, built by brothel owners and sanctioned by the shogunate, who profited from every yen she earned. The average Oiran's lifespan was just 23 years, compared to 40 for other women of the era. And when they died, their bodies were discarded in mass graves at Jokanji, a temple nicknamed the Throwaway Temple, where an estimated 25,000 Oiran lie buried, their names forgotten. Yet, in a haunting twist, the Oiran achieved a kind of immortality. While the women themselves perished young, their images were captured by the greatest artists of the Edo period. Ukiyo-e masters like Kitagawa Utamaro and Katsushika Hokusai turned their faces into eternal symbols of beauty, their kimonos and poses preserved in prints that hang in museums today. The Oiran's influence on fashion, art, and etiquette became a cornerstone of Japanese tradition, ensuring their golden cage would be remembered not as a prison, but as a cultural peak. And yet, the cost was undeniable. The Oiran's world was a paradox, a place where unimaginable beauty masked unimaginable suffering. For every trend she set, a life was sacrificed. For every poem she wrote, a dream was crushed. Today, we remember the Oiran for preserving the most refined elements of Japanese tradition: the elegance of the tea ceremony, the artistry of the kimono, the soul of ukiyo-e. But we must also remember the 25,000 anonymous souls dumped in the shadows of Jokanji. What makes the Oiran so controversial is that her beauty was every bit as extreme as the suffering that created it. She was a prisoner, a performer, and a pioneer, all at once. Thanks for watching. If you were moved by the Oiran story, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of samurai, shoguns, and Japanese legends. Your support helps bring these epic histories to life.
And if you want to dive deeper into the dark glamour of the Edo period, check out our video on Japan's Beautiful Assassins, the Dark World of Oiran Spies. Just click the thumbnail on screen now. See you there.